This is peak Overwatch.
Here it is, ladies and gentlemen, what you've all been waiting for. And now it's go time. Here we go.
Bloody hands, my eyes wide, I got one chance. No sleep till I'm enhanced. Fight hard to keep my stance. Knuckle up, time to buckle up. I got one shot and I won't stop. One goal for the joyride. I'm a champion. Move aside.
Okay. Are you kidding me?
Taking over the game.
What am I watching? They might just be doing it.
He's a god. He's a god.
Yeah.
Full force, I'm unleashed, so don't speak. Grandmaster, don't sleep. Victory, it tastes so sweet. Knuckle up, time to buckle up. I got one shot and I won't stop. One goal for the joyride. I'm a champion. Move aside. Let's go.
Hello and welcome back to the Overwatch League. I am Doa. With me is ZP. It's time for more late night with Doa and ZP. Of course, you know, who wouldn't be more excited about that? I don't know, not us. Probably we're, you know, the most hyped about watching the games. But guess what? We've got Guangzhou Charge versus Seoul Dynasty to start things off tonight. It's going to be a great match, ZP. I feel like this one could go to the distance. We were just talking about this, actually. And, you know, I feel like these teams could play pretty close. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. These are teams that you look at yesterday in particular. The Charge were an overperforming factor against the Dragons, where they got 3-0'd, but throw an asterisk on it. It didn't really tell the full story of what happened. And then Seoul, many people thought they'd go in and take down a Philly that was supposed to be weaker. And guess what? With Hop on Toby, it was anything but the case. Philly came out strong, and Seoul now a team with something to prove, despite many people thinking they were one of the absolute top two teams in the APAC region. So you combine the two together, it makes for what should be a good match here today.
Yeah, both pretty decent teams that ran into very tough opponents yesterday. I think both teams looking for that first win today. They've met in the past. The overall record is 4-4 between Charge and Dynasty, but notably, Charge has only won one of those games in the regular season. So the old playoff buffer Seoul, we know all about it. But let's kind of take more of a micro look at this matchup and compare the two main tanks on these squads. It's going to be a look at Rio versus Gesture. And obviously, the numbers seem to favor Rio a little bit on this screen, don't they?
Yeah, they definitely favor Rio a little bit, but then you think about how Gesture plays, where when Gesture goes in, especially with the way Seoul plays around him, it's usually an entire party that's coming on with him, and he doesn't leave until he finishes off elimination, so his stats are going to be lower, but a lot of the time that's because when Gesture goes in, it's a full group effort, and usually ending with him taking at least one person out. It's a very all-or-nothing style you tend to see from Gesture, whereas I'd say from the Charge, it's a little bit more balanced, particularly on the main tank end.
The Charge have definitely, in our huge sample size of one match so far this season at least, the Charge have looked much more methodical, much more thoughtful about their approaches. You think about their long, winding attack on Blizzard World yesterday, which was the map that they tied against Shanghai Dragons. It was good. It was well executed, well thought out. Meanwhile, on the other side, Seoul has been just maximum aggression, right? And if everything doesn't quite line up with Gesture's decision to engage, it can get a little bit crazy. But let's take a look at the team lineups going into tonight. First off is going to be the Guangzhou Charge. Again, coming into this one 0-1. But like CP and I were saying earlier, it was a close match against the Shanghai Dragons. The first two maps especially were really, really tight. It got a little bit downhill from there, but I think this is still going to be a strong team and a fun team to watch this season.
Yeah, and you look at the members of this team, a lot of people are wondering, hey, will the Charge be good with so many prominent players leaving? And then all those fears kind of went away when they watched Choi yesterday, Choi Siwon. And just the level of play coming out was insane. Hit scan play that you would want on any team, and something that was really giving the Dragons a whole lot of trouble up until the end. So a lot to look forward to on this new Charge roster.
Yeah, Choi Se-won versus Prophet is going to be one of the marquee matchups of this matchup for sure. I want to mention, too, Kariv, one of my favorite players to watch in Overwatch for a long, long time. Of course, he joins the ranks of great flex supports like Jonak and Jaehong, in my opinion, and he's been a great addition to the Charge. He's kind of brought that veteran sort of calm, I think, vibe to the comms, if I had to guess, and I think he's going to be a good addition to the team. Meanwhile, on the other side, we of course have the Seoul Dynasty. Now, Seoul Dynasty, ZP, this is a team, again, that's coming into this 0-1. They ran into a Philly Fusion that was a bit stronger than I think they expected. Now, that said, Fusion did have Toby, which may have acted a little bit of a double agent. You know, there's not a ton of players left from Toby's era on Seoul Dynasty, but, you know, maybe have a little bit of insight in there. And then, of course, you know, you just had situations where I felt Seoul Dynasty was kind of red, you know, to a certain extent. The way that this team engages off the back of Gesture's aggression can be a little bit easy to read sometimes, can it?
Yeah, and key point there is that, you know, maybe Toby, as he joined the team, as you mentioned, the Whisper, he whispered just a few words of wisdom, particularly shoot Gesture first. And, you know, oftentimes when you're up against Seoul, if you punish the fact that, you know, Seoul is so decisive and you focus fire on the Gesture first, you can turn the all or nothing at times into just nothing and make Seoul rethink their game plan and throw them off guard. And, you know, we saw a little bit about that yesterday, and we'll see how Seoul rebounds here today, because, I mean, Seoul is adaptable. It's just sometimes they do get stuck in a bit of a rut, especially in the regular season.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, anyone who's been a Seoul fan or really watched their games for a while knows that the regular season is, you know, just a warm-up for Seoul Dynasty. We're going into Busan for our first map of the day. It is going to be the control map, of course, and we're going to get things started, see who takes the early lead. But, you know, you bring up a good point, of course, with Gesture as well. I remember watching their Dorado match back again from yesterday's series of games, and there would be situations where Animo would be on the low ground with Brigitte, creative on Ana, of course, and, like, Prophet would come back to get some healing, and Gesture's like, all right, I'm going in. And Creative's like, no, wait, I can't heal you. And then, you know, then he'd go down. So just getting a little bit more, I think, synergy, a little bit more in sync would help this team out a lot. I'm not talking the boy band. I'm talking Overwatch team skill.
Oh, man, that's just
Did you like NSYNC, ZP?
I know, if I didn't like NSYNC, I was kind of forced to when they just played their songs over and over again when I worked at a Burger King. It kind of got implanted into my mind by the power of promotion. That's what corporations do. But forget the corporations. I want to see Profit versus Choi.
That's right. We also have Krong, of course, on the Sigma right now.
Goodbye.
What? Jihan, all right, takes a dive early, and that's going to cause everybody else to leap off as well. Yeah, we do see people backing away immediately, and that's going to be probably a pretty quick early point take for Seoul. I mean, it hadn't even unlocked yet, but you know, it's tough to see exactly what happened there. It looked on our screen like Jihan just simply went off the edge of the map, decided to Mario stomp his way out there. But yeah, okay, I was going to say, I figured there was something that knocked him off. But
yeah, that was a
Seoul will take it.
Yeah, that was a clear call an ambulance, but not for me moment as Jihan goes like, I got engaged. And, oh, not anymore. Off the edge you go.
Yep, exactly. Fitz, of course, going to be pretty deadly on that Ashe. Definitely something to worry about. Meanwhile, Tuyu on the Sigma, trading blows with his counterpart, Krong, on the other side. And right now, I like this. Seoul, yeah, taking a pretty firm defensive position. And right now, it just seems like Charge waiting for the right moment, building a little bit of ultimate percentage. Oh, how about that? Gesture goes down. That's what we were talking about, ZP.
Yeah, with Jihan taking down Gesture early on, you know, you focus fire Gesture, gets a little bit aggro. You got the 6v5. Now what are they going to do with it? You look towards Choi, heading in off the flank, and oh man, Choi going after optics again to a degree, bring back that nightmare, that void experience.
No
but the Charge are playing this kind of slow here, Doa, where you think there'd be a full engage after going up one, but instead you give Prophet enough time to tear down Krong, and all of a sudden, Seoul, they're going to hold.
I'm actually a little bit surprised that Charge didn't pull the trigger on that one a little bit quicker, so to speak. I mean, with Gesture going down, you'd think that would be the go button. I don't think there was a whole lot of ultimate concerns there. Meanwhile, Choi So-on trying to take matters into his own hands, but no, Prophet says slap, and you're going back to spawn. It's the Tracer matchup we were wondering about, and so far it's gone Prophet's way.
Yeah, and right now, this is a bit of a problem for the Charge. The Dynasty at 76% to 0. Only one team fight remaining here for the Charge to turn things around, Doa.
Yep, that's right. They waited so long to engage that Seoul's basically got this round unless something turns around in a hurry. That said, June with the ultimate. He's got the mines ready to go. Kaylee has Bob ready to toss onto the point as well. Grief Krong getting theirs pretty soon too. Meanwhile, Tuyu uses the Gravitic Flux. No kills result from that just yet, but they do draw out Kariv's Transcendence. Good start. Oh, Kaylee, Bob is out of commission already. Animo just knocks it out of the way.
The Charge
and Kensel hold on to it.
It's 99-0 now. Now the Charge moving. Oh, Prophet finds Mondu, takes out the Pulse Bomb. Meanwhile, Kaylee off the map on the other end, and Prophet just keeping firm control of the Tracer. Nothing crazy. The Dynasty defending territory here, and Prophet being surgical. And more than anything else, it hasn't been on screen a whole lot. But I believe what's been going into this quite a bit is that both Prophet and Fitz have been keeping a close eye on Choi. And I think part of Seoul's game plan here is saying, look, we saw it happen yesterday, and if nothing else, we're not going to lose to just one Tracer player. You're going to need to do a little bit more than that, Charge. And, for a play that was so dynamic and explosive yesterday, Choi was kept a lot more in check, but it's just one round, Noah.
Only one round, ZP, but a pretty notable round, as that was a different look Charge than we saw before. And I think you brought up a really good point in terms of Seoul is doing a better job of protecting their main tanks from the menace of Choi Se-won. But on the other side, Charge, dare I say, looked a little bit timid in that round. So this one, we'll see if they can summon the aggression at the train station to punch their ticket to a third round.
Well, one interesting thing here, we're going to have a difference in comps. You take a look at the Charge side, they're moving in with the Mercy Bat. You got Brigida and Zen on the other side. So, I mean, Creative's going to have to watch his back throughout the entire part here. It's going to, you'll have Animo covering it to a degree, but if you're Choi, maybe you go off the tanks and you go for the Zen a little more.
Yeah, quite possibly. I also wonder if we're going to have Mondu do a little bit of damage boosting on Kariv as well. Help the Batiste do a little bit more damage.
Choi.
It's going to be on Kaylee mostly, I think. But you know me, I always want the damage boost on the flex support. I can't help it.
Yeah, of course.
Kariv, meanwhile,
it's on
gesture down early.
Yeah, it's a game plan. We talked about it. You focus gesture, and as tempting as it might be to go for the Zen, this is the Charge sticking to the game plan. What they went against the Dragons yesterday, and Choi being surgical finally goes down, but enough has been done here, Doa, where, in contrast to the last round where Seoul got in first, in part because of the lip shot, this is going to be a pretty clean first take in here for the Charge.
Yeah, it was indeed, and I think although the Brigida for Animo looked like a good way to handle Choi Se-won, in the end, it was Kaylee that was laying down a lot of damage that Seoul just didn't seem to be able to handle. Going to get a chance to regroup here, but good amount of ultimates ready to go, or nearly ready to go, on Charge as Seoul approaches one. Fitz, you can see, just looking for a few shots on Krong's Diva. Not finding a ton of it, though. Here we go. Gesture getting aggressive. Here comes the ball. Grieve lays down the wall. And Seoul managing. Yeah, Seoul picking up a lot of kills right now. Prophet finds Mondu. Prophet finds two. And there will be round, ZP, where Prophet just decides to put it on his back.
Yeah, I mean, that was over just as it began. And I mean, that goes to the entire idea of Seoul having decisive engages where Gesture came in, got an immediate good engage. Prophet there in the follow through. And as a result, Seoul comes back in, but still a much better start for the Charge relative to the last round.
Yeah, pretty much. They got percentage at least. That's going to be an advantage. Either way, that's an improvement.
You got Kaylee on
Kaylee
top
trying
here.
to find some shots off the high ground. You really got to be careful with that Zenyatta right click though coming at you. Oh, and how about Fitz finding the headshot onto Choi Se-won's Tracer? Yeah, Seoul seemed really ready for that Tracer, don't they?
Yeah, and I mean, part of this is what we were saying before, where both Fitz and Prophet are taking extra special care to try and keep Choi in check. And Kaylee, though, fired back. Choi out of the fight early, and this is where Charge can really make an opening. They're going to start hanging at Krog, heading in, trying to contest the Ashe a little bit more. Choi comes in from the other side, goes, okay, a little bit of revenge. Now, Choi, what else do you have to work with here? Over the top, looking at the Brigida, doesn't want to challenge it directly. Mine's still denying the point a bit here, so even with the early pickoff, Seoul's buying a lot of time, Doa.
Well, that's the thing. I'm sure Choi Se-won would have wanted to drop down, but like you said, the mines from Gesture was still sitting there. Now Prophet finds an opportunity, throws up the Pulse Bomb, finds Mondu with it. That's a big one, and now he's going to go after Kariv as well. Both supports down, courtesy of Prophet, and the percentage growing for Seoul. They are looking for the 2-0 in this round, and Tuyu throws out the grab for just a little bit more lockdown. Prophet gets to fleeing Jihyun, and Seoul looks like they have this one pretty much locked up, unless maybe Charge can find a way to win a miracle fight.
Yeah, I mean, it's not over yet, but it's getting pretty close. Yeah. Right now, you look at both teams. The hardest part for Charge is that they have to run into the rally, so they're looking to try and take down Animo super early in this fight. 96% though, so the time to go is now. Kaylee, over the top, should be looking for Animo in this situation. Overtime in progress. Charge already pretty low, and Seoul biding their time, waiting till this one. Now they're going to use Rally. It's up to Charge to find a way in.
Yeah, they got the armor. Charge has to find a way, like you said, to flip this point right now. Mandu did swap to the Brigida. There's a pulse bomb, though, onto Mandu, and that's not going to help Charge at all. That's not going to do them any favors. It looks like it's all cleanup for Seoul here, unless maybe Kron can do it. But no, they can't get to the point, and Seoul Dynasty takes a 2-0 on Busan to start things off.
And big difference from what we saw against the Dragons yesterday, but the thing I will continually point to is that we kind of saw the Achilles heel of Seoul come up a few times here. A gesture went in and got immediately blown up, but on the same note, Charge wasn't particularly swift at taking advantage of that. And part of it is that they're so reliant on Choi to go in and create opportunities, and Choi was getting checked really, really hard by the Seoul DPS line.
Yeah. I wonder, ZP, though, what we're going to see in the coming maps when a gesture dying early means a lot more, because it's going to mean the end of the push instead of just a weaker assault on the control point. We'll have to wait and see, though. We're going to go to a quick break, and when we come back, we will find out if Charge can tie this series up or if Seoul gets a higher lead than they already have. Don't go anywhere. Overwatch League is coming right back.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Overwatch League. Seoul Dynasty takes a quick 2-0 on Busan for the lead over the Guangzhou Charge. And ZP, you and I were talking about it during the break, and it really just seemed like Seoul had Choi Sung-wan's number, as he couldn't really do a whole lot.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with playing Tracer is that if you have another Tracer that's hunting you and playing more defensively, which Prophet really was. You didn't see Prophet immediately going super aggro to get kills. It was a much more defensive style Tracer, followed up by the fact that Fitz was just sort of backing things up, and it was really well illustrated on the last round where Choi just turns a corner, immediately gets bopped by the Ashe. I mean, Choi basically had to run an obstacle course to get anything done, and Seoul kind of went into this going, look, you can beat us in any number of ways. Sure, you can focus down just early, but you know what way you're not going to beat beat us. We're not going to let Choi just do anything he wants. And what better person to check another Tracer than Prophet, right? I mean, it's one of the very best people you can imagine for the role. So, the Charge weren't quite able to be as impressive as they were yesterday against the Dragons in that same situation. But, part of that is that, hey, there's some game tape here. You kind of know how the Charge play now.
Yeah. So the question is, can they adapt? I feel like once we get away from control maps too, we get to see how the teams really play. As we get things started here, it's going to be the Charge on attack, Seoul Dynasty on defense early. Kaylee just throwing out that Sonic Arrow to try to get a little glimpse maybe of the defensive setup for Seoul, but doesn't see much, so it's time to push ahead.
There's not going to be any Brigida for Seoul this time around, so in theory, Choi have a little bit more room to harass the supports, but again, he has to get through the iron wall. That is going to be Prophet and Fitz that have been looking for him this entire time.
So just a little bit of a poke there to see what Seoul has to offer. Kron goes back and swaps over to the D.Va, actually. So going for something a little bit more easy to access the high ground with, and of course absorb the dynamite like we just saw too. That helps.
Yep, and
Prophet,
now we're getting
though,
to
you can see he's been,
the team fight's about to begin here, and you take a look between the two. Prophet over and in. Now Rio decides to engage in over the top, behind Seoul. Both teams feeling each other out, and Charge is trying to come at this from multiple angles. Kron, a little bit more pressure on the Prophet. You have to wonder if Prophet's over here. Where's Choi? Choi on the other end, and he actually came from the side, got Prophet for the double team. They got rid of the threat, and now they have the clear 6-on-5.
Prophet was trying so hard to defend that hotel area, and Choi Sung-won managed to find a way to go in and get that killing blow. Meanwhile, Kron does finish off to you as well. So it's looking like Charge may be able to take a pretty quick point A here. Nano boost onto Rio is going to help seal the deal. And you gotta love it. Like, the swap to D.Va for Kron was just perfect, right? As we see Rio continue to push Seoul back and help them secure the point, because what the D.Va can do, you don't get the shield to put on the Winston, but what you do get, as Prophet does find a kill in 3, what you do get is a much more aggressive engage, and that's exactly what the doctor ordered for point A, at least for Charge.
Yeah, and also you kind of notice that once Prophet was out of the fight, Choi was suddenly able to go in deep and do extra things where, Prophet has been the bouncer and bodyguard here. Now, as you go to the next fight, ult's going to be a little bit rougher here for the Charge Creative. They had a boost ready to go.
Yep, that's right. They had to use a little bit to take point A. I think they'll be happy with that. But now it's on Seoul to try to get a defense going. A lot of times you want to get that started around this choke point here. Payload moving through already. Checking it out from Kariv's point of view, you can see again Charge being very methodical, very safe. Ooh, gotta be so careful not to get picked off by the Ash. Actually, Bob goes in, gets slept, but pops back up immediately. Gestures didn't hit the go button anyway, though. Gets Kariv. Now Mondu, Rio, everybody going down, and Seoul Dynasty will find that successful defense early. Whoa, we're going pure gesture now. Pops the Primal Rage. CP, I kind of feel like that fight was a little bit over. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know about that one.
I mean, at some point, maybe it's like, I don't need this for the next fight. That's fine. And look,
peak gesture right there. He's like, I can get more kills.
But that wasn't a fight that I really expected Charge to win anyways. And you look at the next fight, Seoul still stocked with options, but see how Charge does out. Choi is on a very long flank, but now the supports at the same time. The engage already in. Choi 95%. Rio Primal Rage working towards the back. Pulse bomb right for Choi, still waiting. That's one bomb. Wasn't even the pulse bomb. The explosion goes for the stick, gets it, and yet still alive. Nice bubble.
Yeah, that's right. Got to avoid that with the bubble. There's a grab coming through as well on the payload. Seoul trying to hold on to this defense after the big aggression from Charge. But they are getting forced back a little bit. The payload is moving, but it might get stalled out soon.
Yeah, I mean, Seoul's done a really good job of delaying out this fight for what could have been a lot more decisively engaged. They're buying a good amount of time. And now, see Charge coming back in, Transcendence used, looking for anything on this as they go. And now here comes Gesture, Nano Boost, looking to bring it the other way.
Yep, that's right. Bob's pretty weak right now. They're going to have him out of the way pretty soon. Yep, he does go. Goes down, tries to handle Krong in the room here. Looks like he can. There's the D-Mech, but Tuyu down, and Fitz manages to find a headshot on a Choi Se-wan as well. So it's give and take right now. Both teams finding kills, but at the end of the day, the payload's still moving forward slowly. Ooh, but that may change.
Yeah, the payload just hit the brakes there, is what he says. Like, let's move forward. Not anymore. Prophet comes back in, and style. And, this is actually a really tough sequence of events for the Charge because, they had moments where they got a few early pickoffs. They weren't able to make it decisive. Dynasty was able to flood back in, and only 2 minutes left remaining here, and the Charge has spent a lot of time on point B.
Yeah. It kind of feels like Seoul Dynasty is like the Overwatch equivalent of like Marth from Smash Brothers, where it's like whenever you try to attack him, the guy just down Bs and then just deflects, just counters it.
Also perfect DI.
Really low.
Well, the Charge, I think they're actually going to look to engage off this now. Rio's in the back, has Primal, where things get a little bit spicy, but Prophet got to the back. He took down Kariv, and this is where probably he's going to jump down and go, I got one, why not a little bit more? And you have to look at where Jester's going to be coming in here. He's holding on to Primal, holding. Now it's going to be a bit of a slap fight here in the tavern.
That's right. Monkey fight in the tavern. Meanwhile, Gesture, though, he has his ult for a little bit longer. Going to go in. Gets hit with the sleep dart, though. Gets woken up, getting back much out of it. Yeah, Prophet does get the kill on the Mandu as well. Gesture helping out. And really, this has been the Prophet and Gesture show so far on the defense here. And Charge starting to struggle a little bit.
It's been really, really tough, and you also wonder at some point here where, they've been running Mandu and the Brigida, but it hasn't really done a whole lot to slow down Prophet because the way Prophet's been playing, he's been playing so defensive that, he's just kind of ignoring Mandu, and on the other end, I do think a decent amount of value has been had for Seoul on the Mercy.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to give some respect to the res, to the damage boost on Fitz from time to time as well. Been able to turn that into a lot, and here we go, another nano boost onto Gesture right now. What can he make with it? Looks like he just has to back off for now. Ooh, there's the grab, though.
Self-destructive by Choi there. Takes out Toyo at the cost of himself. And honestly, if you're Seoul, you take that trade because here's the thing. Prophet's been playing bodyguard, but when Choi is out of the fight, Prophet also can just dive in with Gesture on all these crazy dive-ins that they've been having. And, again, Seoul on the cleanup. Not a whole lot to fear right now.
Yeah, not a lot indeed, and you even saw Fitz moving forward, like you said, getting damage boost by Animo, working out pretty well. Creative even adds his own stamp to the kill feed as well. Can anyone even get back to the payload? Yeah, they do force the overtime, but can they hold on to it? It's going to be tough. Ryu does manage to get out with his life, but they're going to need Rio back pretty soon here. Yeah, okay, there we go. Nano boost from Carib onto Rio. He's going in. He's got the Primal Rage as well to use. ZP, can they do it?
Yeah, he's using it right now, although he's not getting a ton. He has to spend a lot of this nano away from the point. Meanwhile, though, Kaylee, late Widow Swap, finds Fitz. Comes at a cost, though. Gesture immediately punish Rio. Super deep going, I want to get at least one support. Gets the Graviton support. And the tank line for the Charge, taking matters into their own hands. It's a heavy investment, but we're in overtime. It's what they had to do.
I mean, there's no choice, right? It's do or die right there, and they managed to put together a team fight win. Pretty huge grab at the end there by Krong, saving it for the right moment. Now Kaylee with the swap over to the Sombra too, so going to be going for some flanks, going to be trying to find some hacks, an Animo creative, maybe Gesture if they can, but they've got a new lease on life on this point now. That's the last thing Seoul wants to have to deal with.
Yeah, I mean, this is where Kings Row can also get away with you a little bit. You almost have the point B hold, and suddenly a team gets a surge of life a little bit later on. And now we'll see if there's anything else in the tank. Ult's certainly not in the Charge's favor here, unless Choi lands a Pulse Bomb. Still very possible.
I mean, yeah, with everything he did yesterday, but he was really kind of abusing Void Sigma more than anything, and we haven't seen as much of that from Seoul. Prophet now looking for a few kills here. Chosewan didn't find anything with that Pulse Bomb after all. So ZP, I think we're going to see maybe a quick reset. Yep, quick reset from Charge, and they have like one more try at this, it feels like.
We're down to the final 30 seconds here, Doa, and it's not looking great for the Charge, where this is an unfortunate moment where you need a hero play, because certainly on the ult side of things, it's not looking good. Gesture as a nano, he's going to be heading directly at you with it.
Yeah, exactly. Give that right away to Ryu. Rio is going to be able to use that nano boost possibly to build his Primal Rage. They've got the tools, but here comes a nano boost in Monkey right now. Gesture going in hard.
Yeah, both Winstons going in with Nano. Rio on one side, Gesture on the other. And we're looking at Rio trying to get something done. Just punches Creative out of the fight. Choi able to find Fitz at the same time. A two-man advantage now for the Charge. Getting the better of it here so far. Gesture's down. His Nano is over. And the Charge, when it's at the very end here, they've just about done it to bring things to the end here at Kings Row.
I mean, we talked about when Seoul struggles and when they struggle as the finish line is crossed by Charge. When Seoul struggles is when Gesture goes in and doesn't have support. He gets deleted immediately, and because Rio was coming the other way on Charge at the same time, Seoul just had too much to worry about. Meanwhile, on the other side, Charge just backed off, created a concave, and took down Gesture. So just when it came down to it, you know, a tale of two monkeys, and it was Charge in the end that had the better setup.
Yeah, and a little bit of life in the Charge there too, where, you know, I think there's some adaptations we saw where Rio and Krong found good opportunities. I mean, it's easy to forget here as we're talking a lot about Gesture and the Seoul side of things, and talking about the big impact of Choi for the Charge, but, you know, Rio and Krong is still a really, really good tank line. Krong, you know, a huge dark horse favorite for a lot of people as they watched APAC last year, and, you know, you look towards the point B push that they had, where Rio and Krong both seize the opportunity between the Primal and the Grab, where Rio sets it up with the Primal, gets pretty low, think things are looking a little bit dark. Krong comes in, finishes off with a well-placed Graviton, and it's the difference between this push for the Charge ending at point B and ending at point C, where, yeah, there's no time bank left, but this is still winnable now for the Charge.
I'm looking forward to working.
And I mean, that you know, the tale of Charge on their point B attack specifically is just sort of, you know, why it pays so well to have such a great flex tank, because even if it is all about the dives, you know, with your Winston, with the support you get from the nano boost and all that, you gotta count on those Graviton surges to set things up when things go awry, you know. They'll teleport on the high ground. This is an approach we've been seeing quite a bit from teams lately.
This is a pretty aggro approach here for the Dynasty. So sometimes you'll see teams wait a little bit before going in. Dynasty goes, no, we don't have to wait. We're directly in, and why not?
Why not?
Takes down Choi, and you got the 6v5, and there's not going to be any more chill. You see Gesture, he's already very deep on the other side, and why not?
It's over.
One fight.
Yeah, that point A is taken very, very quickly by Seoul Dynasty, and, you know, Fitz with a little bit of tactical crouching by the box there. Yeah, show that box who's boss. But, you know, it's when Fitz is able to get picks like that, it becomes very easy, right? And Fitz has quietly been having a pretty good series so far. He's been able to kind of deflect a lot of the aggression because of the chaos that Prophet and Gesture are sowing, and that leaves you open to get a lot of pretty easy shots sometimes.
Yeah, it really does. And also, you think about the threats of the Dynasty, right? Where, you know, Fitz has a lot of space because Gesture, I mean, he's hurling himself into the team, whether it's necessary or not. And it means that Fitz isn't always public enemy #1, not when Prophet is also playing bodyguard. So, you know, Fitz is landing his shots, which he should in this sort of situation. It's going to be good for the Dynasty.
Yeah, I mean, like, people ask me, oh, all right, Gesture going in, has a nano boost again, just manages to push Charge it back a little bit. He's not done yet. There's a stun, though, and the Primal Rage has to be brought back as Rio does get the kill on the Gesture after all. Yeah, that was a little bit of an awkward one from Seoul Dynasty. They're going to give a little bit of ground, but not too much. As the Graviton Surge comes in, there it is from 2U. Grabs on both sides. Oh, but Choi Se-Wan with the 2K Pulse Bomb, and Charge is going to retake the defense.
I just love how you can track a lot of these Dynasty fights by the status of Gesture. Is he alive? Is he gone? Did he get a... Also, speaking of being pretty deep there, Gesture, you know?
I mean, hashtag just Gesture things, right?
Yeah.
People ask me what role Gesture plays. I say projectile DPS, like his body is a projectile.
Yeah, throws himself in there. And also, speaking of, a little bit of Winston posturing here, chest beating up over the top Doa between Rio and Gesture, and see some of the focus fire coming in.
Indeed. People hyped about King Kong versus Godzilla. How about King Kong versus King Kong in Overwatch here? Fitz back with the coach gun, nearly has Bob, and again, just I feel like Fitz's positioning is some of the best Ash positioning I've seen. He doesn't often find himself in a dangerous spot of his own making, you know? I'm definitely going to go back and watch this POV.
We got Rio going in, a little bit of an aggro charge here from the Charge. Not redundant at all. A little bit of slap from Rio, but is able to finish it off. And I like this from Rio at the very least, where disengaging a little bit early, realizing, okay, it didn't go as planned. Let's go back so we can re-engage. And, you know, now you got a little bit of tag team here between Rio and Choi as they look to the Seoul backline.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a big difference between Rio and Gesture. Gesture will just go in every single time and never turn around unless he's dead. The only way back to spawn is through death, and that is going to be a huge team fight win for Seoul Dynasty. And, you know, all they had to do was just sort of wait, right? You know, Charge expended a lot of their resources with those ultimates. Soul says, all right, now it's our turn. We're going to have that engaged, and Creative putting down Rio, and that's going to be a point B take for Seoul with a lot of time left on the clock. 4:26 available on point C.
Yeah, I mean, this is an immense amount of time left to defend point C, and yeah, it can be done, but the Charge are really going to have to reverse the tempo of this entire game, Doa, if they even want to keep this in winnable territory.
It's possible. It's not a likely defense, but we've seen it before. Charge has the tools, but can they put it all together? The longer that payload pushes in, the more pinned down they're going to be.
Here comes Gesture, in and over. Primal, ready to go, and this is how every party starts, and sometimes it ends with Gesture tuckering himself out, gets left, and they go for the focus fire right after, so Gesture's actually able to get out, but it does mean the Primal gone, though space is made for it, they get some distance in the process.
You know, part of this too is they've been using Gesture to just draw abilities and ultimates out of Charge to make it easier for Tuyu rather to do exactly what he's going to do, which is going to be a throw down the grab pretty soon. Although Fitz did die, so maybe they're going to wait with that one. We will see grabs going down for Krong instead. Prophet though, and the rest of Seoul Dynasty using their own Zarya ultimate to win this fight.
Yeah, I mean, Seoul just seized on the opportunity. It's a great grab, and Prophet very willing to go in and follow through. Where I've been impressed at just how measured Prophet has been here, where, you know, at times you look at the DPS, you kind of expect a performance like we had from Choi yesterday, where, you know, Choi was just off making crazy plays all the time, and, you know, Prophet, again, very defensive tracer, waiting for other people to make opportunities in this particular series, and it's done a lot to just keep Seoul pretty safe.
What a boss. You know, Choi Se-wan is probably feeling a little bit cheated on that one, where he's like, oh, that should have been a 4K, come on. Everyone else stealing my kills.
Yep.
It was a rough round, though, overall for the Charge. Seoul Dynasty with, you know, all the time in the world, really, to get this done on point A again.
Yep, and this is always, I've said before, I'll say it again, one of the most awkward moments in Overwatch, where you still got to play, and the prize you're playing for, you're not playing for the win anymore. You're playing for the draw if you're the Charge, where 3-minute hold on point A, Kings Row. It's happened, Doa. It's not a frequent occurrence. This is one of the hardest spots to find yourself in Overwatch if you're even just trying to get a draw.
Yeah, you know, we saw them force the draw yesterday against Shanghai Dragons on Blizzard World. That's a point A, though. That's a little bit easier to defend, in my opinion. Like you said, this one can be rough. You can see Fitz already and Prophet just looking for the Sonic Arrow, but also maybe looking for just an early pick just to make things easier. Yeah, just throwing out the Storm Arrow as well. Just fishing for picks. Why not? Going to go for it anyway, though. No Symmetra hijinks. They are going to approach this a little bit more naturally.
Yeah, I mean, why not? You got plenty of time. You can sit back, you can read a book, and at some point in 3 minutes, probably take the point. This isn't something that the Dynasty have to play nearly as quick as they did on the first attack. I like it. But the focus fire's in to get Rio, and that's the first domino to fall here, Doa. And bringing this back is going to be so hard for the Charge now, as, you know, the Dynasty not wasting any time, already halfway to the finish line.
Yep, make it 99% of the way, make it all the way, as Seoul Dynasty able to pick up another map win in a row. ZP, yeah, this is our only series of the night. We're looking at a possible 3-0 for Seoul Dynasty. I'm kind of hoping that we get another gamer. So I'm hoping that Charge gives us a little bit more life here as we go forward.
Yeah, I certainly hope so as well. And you take a look at, though, it kind of shows the power of both adaptation and changes from day to day between teams, and also matchups. I think you look at a team like the Dragons, where, look, there's a lot of hit scan talent on Dragons, but it's a team that historically likes running more projectile setups. You know what's really good, though, at checking a team that's relying on things like a Star Tracer? Having a team that just loves running double hit scan. And the way Seoul's been playing here, they've been containing the weapons of the Charge, and at the same time, just, you know, getting good, consistent progress and backing up Gesture most of the times when he goes in.
Yeah, I feel like we're seeing a much tighter usage of the engages from Gesture today than we did yesterday. It's encouraging if you're a Seoul fan. Guangzhou Charge, though, need to dig deep if they want to stay in the series. We're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll see if they can do just that, or if we get the Seoul Dynasty 3-0. Don't go anywhere. Overwatch League is coming back just in a bit.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by State Farm. For auto, home, or renters insurance, like a good neighbor, State Farm is there. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch. TeamSpeak, the official voice supplier of the Overwatch League. And by NetApp, the official data management partner of the Overwatch League.
Welcome back to Overwatch League, where Seoul Dynasty is just one map win away from getting the quickest series I think we've seen yet this weekend. ZP Charge really is having a tough time doing what they did against Shanghai Dragons, at least that found a bit of success in the first couple maps, but today they just kind of look outclassed, honestly.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, you kind of wonder what the impetus is here. Is that you look at, is Charge necessarily playing worse than yesterday? I don't necessarily think so. Is Seoul playing a lot better? Absolutely. Is Seoul playing better because they looked at what the Charge were doing yesterday? Maybe. I mean, certainly game plan-wise, it looks like that. Also, Seoul could just be outright mad, where they had a pretty rough initial show again. You know, the Charge, unfortunately, are the team that have to settle for the wrath of the Dynasty here, where the Dynasty is just playing really well.
Yeah, one of the things you and I were talking about during the break, too, is that I think Seoul is specifically today doing a much better job of working to you into the pushes, where Gesture is able to go in, draw a lot out of the enemy team, makes for easier big Graviton Surge plays on the Zarya. We saw that make a big difference on point B on their attack on King's Row, and a big point on C on King's Row. So that's something I feel like they lacked against Fusion yesterday when I went back and watched those games with a replay viewer today. And so it's cool to see things coming together a little bit more for Seoul Dynasty. And keep in mind, this is not the norm when these two teams meet in the regular season. They are 4-4 against each other lifetime, but only one of Seoul's wins have come during the regular season. The rest were all playoff victories. So this could be Seoul Dynasty, ZP, kind of turning over a new leaf.
I love stats like that because it really drives home the point that Seoul in a lot of ways is just sort of reverse NYXL. Where, bear in mind, NYXL actually did a pretty good postseason performance last season. But, you know, the Dynasty, it's like mid-league regular season, really good postseason with their core and, you know. opposite.
Well, I mean, now Seoul's got that combination of London and NYXL on their team, so who knows, what like precedents from previous teams will take hold as the season goes on. But either way, Seoul looking very, very good. We're going to go into our next map, which is going to be Havana, I believe. It's going to be our payload map, and it's going to be the last chance for the Guangzhou Charge to start to get some momentum going in this series. If they lose this one, it's over. Seoul gets a 3-0. If Charge wins, though, we get to keep going. We get to cast more games. I kind of hope that happens. No bias, but hey, Seoul Dynasty 3-0 would be a pretty decent statement victory here this weekend for them.
Yeah. Now, one thing you have to wonder here for the Charge, and this would be a great map to do it simply because it is a very different map than a lot of the other maps in the pool, sans like Junkertown, which is on the same wavelength in Havana, is that, do you change things up here? Do you go, okay, Tracer carry is something that worked out really well for us against the Dragons, but it's not working right now. Do you swap things up? And you're down 2 maps here, though. If there's ever a time for the Charge to embark on a different strategy, I feel like it'd be now. And bear in mind, the double shield probably was game planned here from the beginning.
Yeah, both teams going with that double shield. Really, the only difference is coming in the Sombra versus the Tracer and the Zenyatta versus the Baptiste for Charge. As Charge is on the attack, Seoul Dynasty on the defense. We'll see if Fitz can find any shots early.
Well, Fitz is on the Widow, and this is something the Charge should be able to play around pretty well, just using line of sight, and also the fact that Choi's not on Tracer anymore. Choi's on Mei, so the dynamic has changed here for the Charge and how they're going to play it. And inherently, this is going to necessitate Prophet being a little bit more aggro than he was before, because it's not quite the same bodyguard dude.
Right. The thing is I felt like when Fusion yesterday had a lot of success against Seoul Dynasty, it was when they were playing things like the Mei, when they were playing things like the Wall, where they could separate Gesture from the rest of the team. That said, Gesture not playing the Winston on this map. He is on the Orisa, so the aggression isn't becoming quite as fast and furious as usual. That said, Fitz finds the pick on to Kaylee starting out, so now we'll see how much Charge can kind of keep this going. They might have to back up and regroup.
Even with the long sight lines that force a lot of position, you still have to work pretty hard as a Widow to find some eliminations here because of the double shield in your way. And the fact that teams have gotten really good at playing around Widows, and it makes it all the more important that when Fitz sees an opportunity like the one he saw there, he just instantly capitalize on it.
I mean, functionally, it's quadruple shield, right? Between if you have the Brigida and the Mei wall in there. It's going to be the wall dropped by Karib as well. The damage wall this time as Gesture gets taken out. A little bit of bloodthirsty support action going for Karib as the payload keeps going. Animo down as well. And this push, slowly but surely, is starting to come together for the Charge. Oh, that said, Prophet may have something to say about that.
Takes out Mondu, doesn't care that Brigida's good against Tracer. Prophet's good against everything. And now the Dynasty have a real chance of bringing this back. And we're looking at Prophet. He's the one to watch here. Now looking at the BAP in the back. Prophet versus Karib, a classic. Force back a little bit. BAP can handle himself. Immortality field down. And all the while, Prophet still takes down Karib. Immortality field or no. And that's a bit of a deadlift from Prophet.
I mean, he killed the field and he killed the Karib. I mean, that's impressive because Karib's not going to miss a lot of those shots. So you could see Prophet have to use his rewind early just to stay alive. Now Chosewan trying to use the wall to separate Gesture from the rest of the team. Caught between a payload and a hard place, and they nearly take him down. Either way, it's awkward. Gesture in a very rough spot right now. And yeah, they're just going to jump on him and finish him off.
Prophet's going to be back in, though. And the Blizzard's eaten! Toyo able to take down the Blizzard. Right place, right time to Sigma. Not the easiest thing to do.
No.
Now the Dynasty looking to stay on top of it. Toyo goes down, but big impact, and you look at Prophet back in the fight. Fitz with the recon sight. Nothing is a secret right now. And the question is, can Dynasty do anything to bring this point back? It's going to be tough, especially with Prophet biting the dirt.
Yeah, I mean, Toyo eating a Blizzard is a nice touch, but in the end, it's going to be Krog and the rest of Charge finishing point A here. Late death for Fitz. We'll see if he stays on the Widowmaker or not. A lot of ultimates available for Seoul, so we'll see if they can get some sort of defense going on B. I feel like they've got a good opportunity, and yeah, there's going to be the swap over to the Hangzhou for Fitz on this one.
Yep, still running with the double shield, though, where oftentimes teams will maybe swap here. But the thing is that even though you can get away with running other tank comps and double shield in the middle of Ana, it's still really, really good at the end. So just keeping things similar. Toyo, meanwhile, here in the back, Gesture out of the fight. And this is good pressure coming in from the Charge, but they're going to need a little bit more. Both teams swapping out Orisas.
Yep, pretty much. Both teams losing their main tanks. Ooh, fade away shot onto Animo from Kaylee. That's got to feel good.
Yeah,
Payload moving a little bit. Yeah, scrappy though. This point B is getting to be a little bit of a brawl.
It definitely is, because the problem is even when Charge get up one numbers, they're not feeling confident enough to go in and clean up the rest. Like, they're still sitting here posturing and poking, and while you're doing that, you're getting reinforcements coming in from the Dynasty, but there's Choi. Finds, fits, pulse bomb, though, out for Profit, evens the score, both Hangzhou's out of there. Yep. So Tracer v Hangzhou, a theme, and again, this keeps things even and lets the Dynasty keep the payload relatively stable.
Yeah, I'd say so. They are putting together that point defense they were looking for. Profit just trying to go in to finish a kill. Can't quite do it, though. The high ground has been taken for Charge. Profit needs a little bit more. Ultimates, though, starting to come online for Seoul Dynasty. The next big fight might be on the horizon here. Yep, the T-Swall dropped by Karib. They're going to try to stop it before it happens. Karib down, though, and it's going to be Seoul Dynasty picking up the early kills in this one. Accretion to the back. And the Orisa of Rio in big, big trouble here. And yeah, Charge may have to back up a bit.
I think a key difference we're seeing here between the two teams, though, and brought up a little bit, but I feel like when the Dynasty get an early pickoff, whether it be one or two, you just see the rest of the Charge immediately fall down. Whereas when the Charge get a pickoff, they're a lot more tentative, and the problem that the Charge are going to run into now is that retaking point B, very, very difficult when you let the defense set up again.
Yeah. It worked out well for Seoul that when point B began, they already had a few ultimates to utilize, and they put them to good use for sure. Now we've got that great potential for the Halt Dragon Strike combo from Gesture and Fitz. We'll see what happens. Going to be looking for that one. Dragon Strike comes out, just gets tossed through the wall. Doesn't find any kills, but it does delay, and we're down to less than a minute remaining for Charge. They need to make something happen now.
And the problem there is Profit stocking, Pulse Bomb ready to go, and this could be the final fight already. They're not going to have a lot of time to reset up. And you just see the Dynasty denying entrances here at the point B. Just getting entry is so incredibly difficult. Profit, 29 HP, not a care in the world, drops the Pulse Bomb, doesn't get the kill. So that bullet dodged.
You just YOLO'd that one. I mean, Brigitte with a shield up in front of you, no HP. Yeah, just go for it, man. A little bit of a optimistic play by Profit, but it did lead to Charge having to back away again. Fitz finds a headshot onto Rio. Kills being traded. Kaylee deciding that it's time for the Charge to push forward, and it is past time as we're only down to 5 seconds remaining in the time bank. Can they do it?
Well, right now, they're off to a good start. The picks from Kaylee are huge. The payload finally moving forward. Someone remembered to get on it at the very least. And now the Charge, right now it's just about can they finish out point B. And this is a hard decision here for the Dynasty. We're re-engaging the Spa's defense. Very difficult times, but they have the Transcendence, so they're going to use the Transcendence, lead in here, and we'll see where it goes.
Yep, that's right. Right before point B would be finished. There's a Transcendence from Creative as well to give Seoul a chance. A big Gravitic Flux from Krong that's going to lead to a couple kills here, but does it lead to a point take? It looks like it may. And Charge to it. They take B. They are still alive.
Yeah, and that's the problem with going for the recontest there. It's always high risk, high reward. Seoul thought they could do it because they had the Transcendence. It gives you some degree of safe entry, but they were still all clumped up, ran into Krong's waiting hands. And now the Charge have a real chance of keeping this map competitive with a minute left moving into point C.
They do indeed. Fitz back on the Widowmaker. Double sniper now for Seoul Dynasty as they try to use these long sight lines to just get a couple early picks. Only 1 minute remaining, so there's not a whole lot of time for Charge to work with here.
Fitz, meanwhile, just looks
all about those picks.
Possible.
Ooh.
This is why they went back to the double shield, just because of this part of the map where you kind of need it, especially with teams running snipers. And Profit, right, going a little bit aggro, wants to take the battle and might have thought differently. Choi takes him out, but again, both Hangzhou's out of the fight, so now we look towards Choi v Fitz as Choi looks for the way around.
Oh, it's going to be Choi v Creative instead, as he has to recall, actually. Creative managing to find the right click on him. Charge continuing to push forward here. Still tough. Good choice. I wanted to get a whole lot done here, despite that one pick we just saw a moment ago.
Both teams are going to be at the full strength. Final 6 seconds. Charge have to engage soon. They start out with the Halt. Dragon Strike off to the side.
Interesting.
Toyo, real danger here. Super low HP, yet somehow stays alive. Getting healed up on the wall. Kaylee caught over to the side, and it's Profit on the McCree. Takes down Choi. A really nice swap here for Profit. And now looking for the Hangzhou, finds Kaylee, and Prophet is putting this one away.
Toyo decided to try to go for the Sigma. Didn't find a whole lot with it, but it's going to be the Prophet show as the rest of Seoul pushes forward. It gives that McCree time to work, and it was an epic point B completion for Charge, but they couldn't quite get the payload all the way. Seoul Dynasty with an opportunity here to win the match in this next round.
Yeah, and credit to the Charge for extending it as far as they did there, particularly Kaylee just finally finding some opportunities against what has been a very well-disciplined Seoul Dynasty team here. And the Charge, they did swap things up here. They didn't rely entirely on the Tracer the entire time. They did swap to it towards the end, but yeah, it's been tough going for the Charge against the Dynasty that so far just have given up very little opportunities to pounce on.
Yeah. I think the main storyline has really just been Choi Se-won's success on that Tracer, in terms that Seoul has been stopping him cold pretty much the entire series so far. He finds his moments. He's a great player, obviously, but Seoul just came ready. Clearly they watched the footage from yesterday. Clearly they had a game plan coming in, knowing that he was going to be the biggest threat on Charge that they were going to have to deal with, and they dealt with it so far.
Yeah, they definitely did. And I mean, now if you're the Charge, you look at this and you go, okay, you need a strong defense. And, one thing you do in Havana, where I'm curious to see if they do it here, running the Rhine May, is just, hold it close to the spawn. Try and buy as much time as possible here at point A. And you can do it by being a little bit smash mouth on your defense.
Yeah, why not?
All right, well,
a little bit more aggressive. They are getting right in there.
The gas station is contested.
Extra from the side door, perhaps. Yeah, we do see these contests every once in a while in Havana. It's been a while, I feel like, since I've seen one be this up front, but they're going for it. Tracy wanted to try to carve the team in half with that ice wall.
You tend to expect this more from some of the very aggro disrespect teams like Classic Atlanta. But in this case, I think it's the right move for the Charge. You keep up high pressure, hope to keep Seoul off guard, and drain a minute or two off the clock here.
I mean, they know that if point A is taken and B, that C is not going to be a tough thing to achieve. So why not use as much time up as you can on one of the longer stretches here on point A. Make it tough for Seoul down the line on those harder points like B. Rio down. Okay, and here we go. Seoul Dynasty finally breaking out, and they are going to get the payload moving. But it's like I said, taking the time off of the clock right now is going to make it that much harder for Seoul to push through that more difficult point in B a little bit later.
Yeah, I mean, you give up a little bit of positioning here, but given they got a minute off, I don't hate the play for the Charge to do that. Now, I mean, the problem that they're running into is that Prophet has a Blizzard. They have to play around this as they head up through the Tokyo. Okay, so they're not even wasting any time, Doa. Dragon Strike out here from Fitz. Prophet moving on forward. Hasn't dropped the Blizzard here just yet. Soul isn't full committing, but they push the Charge back, and they just don't want to give up this level of territory.
Well, get ready for the Blizzard now. He just has to hope that Krong doesn't eat it. That's the play because they want to try to zone Charge away. They're going to go ahead and drop it. Oh, yeah, Blizzard tossed behind the wall to just make sure it goes down without a problem. But it doesn't really catch anybody either. That was interesting, ZP. Either way, Seoul does find the pick onto Rio, so they are still holding this point for now. They are still getting that payload moving.
Yeah, they're keeping it going forward, and this is tough for Charge. I mean, they've lost enough, they can't really head back out. And the Charge, they kind of paid for their upfront hold, Doa, where the risk you take is getting your positioning back, and the Dynasty really denied that positioning, and they never got back into a good spot on point A. And now point A is over. It's about point B.
I mean, props to Seoul for just having great ult efficiency towards the end of point A. They were like, all right, well, we pushed them back. Like you were saying, they have to try to make some sort of last-ditch defense at the end of the point, so let's just use our ultimate sparingly to create space and just make sure we get there. Oh, big Gravitic Flux, but there's a stun. And so Toyo has to back off as well. They're going to go ahead and use the sound barrier from Mandu to push into this, try to get a good position, but they find themselves in a Dragon Strike, and they get out of the way in time.
They're able to reposition a bit, but Creative catches Kaylee in the crossfire. That's a problem when you're moving back and forth. Zen's firing all the way forward. Seoul again with an advantage, and they're looking to push it right out. The key difference between the two teams, one pickoff and Seoul just goes in. And they're keeping up the pressure on Krong right now. Krong getting very low. Seoul continuing to push forward, but now I got Rio. Rio builds up the shower mid-fight, drops on down. Is it going to be dropped here? Take a look at it for a second. The Blizzard is used, so it's shattered, but Choi and Krong both down in the heat of the moment, and the Charge have gotten precious little from this so far.
Yeah, Animo able to use the Immortality Field, too, to keep people, well, everyone aside from Gesture anyway, alive on the Soul side, and that's going to give Prophet the room to come back to turn this fight around. Even Creative showing up the kill feed there, but Prophet on this May looking very impressive here on point B. Still a lot of time left in the time bank for Seoul.
Seoul, 2 minutes, 55 seconds left. Charge finding the series on the line.
Yeah.
And they have to do something to stem the bleeding here, but look at Prophet on the May, going to be making the re-engage even harder here. The defense for the Charge, getting back into defend has been such a struggle here so far. Kaylee, Deadeye to the back, looking forward.
There's a flux, and Kaylee goes down. That's a problem. Toyo finds a big one on the Sigma, that's right. And there's just so many low health members on Charge right now. They're on the payload right now, but I feel like it's not going to be for too much longer. Another Accretion. It's hard to hit the Lucio with the Accretion. I admit, that is a tricky one.
It's not the easiest for sure. Crit though, finds Prophet, but that's not going to be enough. The Blizzard back on the point. Soul just smothering. Charge have done a decent job of delaying, but this has been the sad delay, Toa. This is the delay you do to buy a little bit of time, but it's not the delay that's going to win you the game with 3.5 minutes for the Dynasty to finish it out.
Indeed, 3 minutes, 33 seconds exactly on that time bank as point C unlocks. And Seoul don't even need to finish it. All they need to do is get it most of the way there, and they don't just win the map ZP. They win the series, and they win it in resounding fashion. I believe this is going to be the quickest series we've seen yet in Overwatch League this year. At least, I mean, it's only one weekend, but still, this will be a quick 3-0.
Yeah, it's going to be very quick unless something changes in a hurry. Kaylee with an opportunity to be a hero here. Widow in the back, open shots. Nothing landed just yet. Blizzard going to be used by Choisewan to buy a little bit more time, but they get profit off it. It's not bad. This is enough that Seoul has to think a moment before going super deep, Doa, but just one piece of menu with 240 left.
Yep, pretty much. Kaylee doing what he can as Seoul pushes forward. You have to find the picks on the Widow. Now, Toyo's had some pretty big gravitic fluxes earlier in the series, and another one of those, of course, would potentially mean the match win. Prophet over to the Tracer once more, doing what he does best. And there's another 3-person gravitic flux. Man, Toyo just seems great at catching people with that. Gets the kill onto Kaylee, and that sets it up for the rest of his team. The delay is enough for everyone else on Seoul to get in position, get the kills, and Seoul just moments away, potentially, from winning this series.
Yeah, this is going to be a really, really tough re-engage coming in here from the Charge. Rio down for a while. Could you see a swap the ball just to get out in time? And there's the yellow box of victory. And someone has to be the martyr on the point. They touched it. It's in contest here, but they still need something else. Kaylee under pressure. Prophet says no, there will be no sniping from the back. Creative falls through, and the Charge falling bit by bit, piece by piece. Only 3 people left around near the point, and there's just a limit to what can be done. The Dynasty, they finish it off. It's a 3-0.
Seoul Dynasty with the 3-0 victory. That was fast, ZP. I thought we were going to get a good one. I mean, it was a fun one to watch if you're a Seoul Dynasty fan for sure, but man, if you are a Guangzhou Charge, back to the drawing board for that team. The reliance on Choisewan that we saw yesterday against Dragons, it looked good. It wasn't enough then. Today, it was just stopped cold by Seoul Dynasty. And I gotta say, between yesterday and today as well, Seoul Dynasty seems to leveled up. The synergy, the coordination that was maybe a little bit lacking yesterday against Philadelphia Fusion, I thought it looked much better in general today.
Yeah, I mean, this is a Seoul that people thought you'd be seeing at the beginning of the season. This is why people were very surprised yesterday to see Philly just, so dominantly take Seoul down. And it's like, well, where was the Seoul yesterday? I don't know. But the Seoul definitely also learned from some of the things we saw yesterday that the Charge was good at, because I don't think there's any other way to explain the huge disparity in Choisewan's play from yesterday to today, other than the fact that Prophet and Fitz made life very, very difficult for him over the entire course of the series. So, I think you have to commend Seoul for the adaptations they made, not only in their own play, but also adjusting to their opponents as well.
Yep, that's right. Seoul Dynasty, I suppose you could say, just kind of shaking off the rust. Everybody's shaking off the rust. We're shaking off the rust. The players are as well. And so we'll kind of expect better play and everything to go. It's time to take a look at our player of the day. And I don't think it's going to surprise you too much. The player of this series is going to be none other than Seoul Dynasty's own Prophet. Just absolutely wrecking people on the Tracer, as we've seen him do time and time again throughout his career.
Yeah, I think Prophet, the untold story here, it's not even what you saw for him in the kill feed. It's not the highlights that we saw here. It's just the pressure that he was able to apply to Choi, the defensive presence of a Tracer that's playing bodyguard, right? That's not trying to play superhero, getting early pickups. Like, no, just gonna protect the rest of my team, gonna prevent you from doing all the things you want to do. And you know, it's something, it's a role that Tracer can do, especially dealing with other enemy Tracers that, you know, at times is underspoken about. But you know, Prophet pulled it off beautifully here today.
Right. I mean, I think just doing a good job of picking the right targets as well. You know, like you mentioned, we did see the Tracer 1v1. We did see him play that DPS head-to-head from time to time. But if you track those pulse bombs, a good number of them ended up on Kariv. And I think if you're going to take out somebody, if you could pick anyone to just snap your fingers and remove from a fight, it would be Kariv, because you kind of lose that Ana. You lose a lot of your healing, obviously. You lose an Ana boost. And you lose, to a certain extent, a little bit of leadership, too, that Kariv offers that team. When he's out of the fight, a little bit tougher to direct there. So Prophet, our player of the game in this series. And, hey, great Tracer stats. No surprise, it's Prophet.
Yep. Again, no surprise there, as you say. And yeah, I think for Dynasty fans, this is sort of the palate cleanser game, right? Where yesterday happens and you go, oh, my God. We were supposed to take down Philly. They were down players. And yet you go to today and you're a little bit worried, going, I don't know, Charge was looking pretty good. And Seoul just comes in and has the most dominating victory we've seen really all season long thus far. So, you know, Seoul fans, take a sigh of relief. Your team's still good. Yesterday, maybe a bit of an aberration.
You know, you got to feel bad for Charge. I feel like they ran into two of their toughest opponents, you know, back-to-back, and in terms of Shanghai and then today, Seoul. We'll see if they can pick it up next week. I still think this is a team with a lot of potential. They've got a lot of good players, and I feel like we're going to see it a bit more as the season goes on. We're going to take a quick break, but we'll be back in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. This is the Overwatch League.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Xfinity, the preferred internet provider of the Overwatch League.
League, and you know, we were talking during the break, what do we want to show during our Cheez-It Grooves crunch time? There's so much to talk about at Seoul Dynasty. We talked about Gesture a lot, though, ZP. We talked about Profit a lot. So who else is left? Well, there's a notable Sigma player, of course. And, well, we're taking a Sigma plays anyway for this one. It's going to be Toyo, Tuyu, Tuyao. You know, we're figuring it out still. Don't worry. We're shaking off the rust here, too. Either way, he had some great plays, didn't he?
Yeah, he really did. And you're just channeling some Hex energy where you had that one legendary cast where he called Brigitte just, you know, 80 different names maybe throughout the course of it. I think she got called Baguette at one point, but it's all good. It's late night. And yeah, I mean, Toyu really did have a big impact here where it's easy to talk about the rest of the players being good on Seoul, and, you know, certainly did that a lot, but also just very solid Sigma play. And it seemed like anytime the Charge were getting a bit of momentum and in a good spot, well, you put everyone in too good of a spot for the opposing Sigma to land a flux and just end the team fight and set up Profit even that much better. So it was the full package coming in here from Seoul today.
Yeah, exactly. And you got to think about the full value of the Gravitic Flux, right? It's not just about the damage that it can potentially do. It's about the crowd control, of course, but it's also about the length of time that people spend in the ultimate. That's a lot of time for players like Profit and you know, Fitz to reposition, to be able to pick up some more kills on the other side of it. And I feel like that's what we saw more than anything, is Seoul Dynasty using these Sigma ultimates as a team to really kind of get ahead in a lot of crucial spots.
Yeah, what better crunch do you have than hitting the ground after the flux hits? You go up, you go down. There's got to be a crunching sound involved somewhere in the dough. I mean, physics just demands it.
It's when you get slammed down on the pavement by gravity. There's definitely some crunch as well. So that's going to do it for ZP and I. Actually, today it was a short but sweet day if you're a Seoul Dynasty fan. Otherwise, if you're a Charge fan, more to look forward to, I think, in the future. But that's going to do it for us. Stick around, though. We've got the Hunters versus the Dragons coming up next. A lot more late-night Overwatch League coming at you right after this.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by Cheez-It Grooves. So much flavor, it's a mind crunch.
guys, to the Overwatch League. I'm Achilles, jumping on the cast alongside Avril yet again. We'll be bringing you the action for the final 2 series of the evening. Coming up next, we have the Chengdu Hunters getting ready to duke it out against the Shanghai Dragons. And when it comes down to Chengdu, we never know how this is going to go, Avril. This could get very down and dirty.
Yeah, I mean, look, Chengdu are the kind of team that I have been described to me as they're capable of winning a tournament, but also they're capable of going very close to Valiant, which is kind of what we saw yesterday. So the Chengdu zone, it exists. Get used to it. It's fun. It's chaotic. It's anything you want it to be, really. But for Chengdu, I hope for them, it also means that they can maybe pop out a win as well. So sometimes chaos can lead you into a sort of situation where you maybe confuse your opponent, something like that. Chengdu have certainly got a tough game ahead of them tonight versus Shanghai. We expect Shanghai to be great, and while for Chengdu, they're going to need to step up big time.
Yeah, they are, and one of the big players that's going to have to step up for Chengdu is Leave, of course. I mean, he has been a star, you know, a fairly silent star, I guess, because he kind of gets drowned out in the chaos, but we will be taking a closer look at him versus Lip.
And here's the thing as well. I'm glad we're looking towards Ashe stats. People don't know this, but Leave has actually got a really great Ashe. He plays a little bit. I mean, we saw yesterday versus Valiant. He did bring it out kind of. Lip plays the Ashe on the team for Shanghai Dragons. You also have DM coming in sometimes for that one. Personally, for me, Leave is really, really underrated in the Overwatch League. He is by far, in my opinion, the best Chinese Overwatch player. Notice I didn't say Overwatch League. I just said Overwatch. All of Overwatch. I think he's really just that good. Leave is incredible for this team. Leave on the Chengdu Hunters is like, in my opinion, like he's the guy. He's like the prophet of this team. When, you know, prophet for Seoul, to me, Leave is Chengdu, right? That's the first guy I think of when I think about Chengdu Hunters. So Leave has got quite a big job to do tonight versus Flitter, versus Lip, versus even DN. Chengdu, they're still kind of trying to, in my opinion, figuring out their roster a little bit. Here you go. Starting lineup's going to be Jinmu back on with Leave. They got 2 more other DPSs. In fact, they got 2 extra roles across the board. They got 12 players in total. I actually think it would be good for Leave and Kaneki to be playing together. Kaneki's got a really great tracer, and then you could put Leave on that Ashe. And I think for this, though, with Jinmu coming in especially early, now Jinmu's been playing a lot of the fire. We saw yesterday he really came in big on that fire. Is he going to do that again? And if he does, I mean, is that going to work? Because you got Flitter on the other team, you got Lip on the other team. Flitter's going to go Echo. Lip could go any sort of hit scan. It's pretty dangerous for Jinmu.
Yeah, I mean, keeping him protected from the skies is a really big order. That's going to fall to Nisha, as we still haven't seen Yveltal yet. It's only been 2 days, you know, so still plenty of time for him to come through. But here's going to be our Shanghai Dragons starting roster. We'll not be seeing DM so far. We'll be Fleta, Lip, Fate, Void, Lee Jaegong, and Izayaki. I mean, these guys, you know, there's not really a situation that they can't handle, at least seemingly. Close first series, you know, did have a draw come through versus the Charge just yesterday. But like you said, the Chengdu zone, it absolutely does exist. It's not like Elo Hell, which is made up. So the Chengdu zone is a very real place. It's all self-inflicted. Seen it. We've all witnessed it. There's no Bermuda Triangle nonsense going on here. It's a very real location, and Chengdu is going to be looking to take the Dragons there. Going to be starting things on Oasis for Control. Control always, notably, is going to be super chaotic, and that is where Chengdu excels, so maybe they could start the series off with a win.
And maybe versus a team like Shanghai as well, going to the Chengdu zone actually gives them quite a lot to work with. I think versus teams that they're expected to beat, that's when it works against them. This is why you have the fluctuations and expectations. This is why for a team like Chengdu, you know, they can get good games versus teams like Shanghai, which is what I'm expecting tonight, and then they can also go very close to Valiant. Then let's take a look at an opening composition to start things out with. Gaga Elsa on the Winston Zarya, not even doing the ball here. Gaga to me is one of, if not the best ball in the league currently. And I know he's just entered, he's only played like 1 game, but trust me, the ball is really, really good. They're going to be on the double bubble early. Fate coming through on the ball.
Waiting above, comes down. So just swing through, but gets shield bash instantly, so it doesn't go for the pile driver. Gets a big knock-up. Gaga just playing around the side. With this Winston, Lee Jae-gon under quite a lot of pressure, pulls back around the corner, trying to stay safe. The flashbang not going to connect. He's still going to be alive, and Void still somehow kept this mech. Bionate does connect onto both the supports here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons, but they haven't been able to capitalize on that. Don't get the kills there. So far, just going to be knocking Void out of that mech. Now with Izayaki and Lee Jae-gon falling, the extended fight is going to be won. Initial cap goes the way of Shanghai Dragons, but it's going to be a very fast turnaround here for Chengdu.
I think that's maybe Lip or Flatter, one of the two actually going towards that. Flatter gets, I think he got stunned up there, and then the obviously Bionade comes and cleans him up from Monk. That initial manual hack from Jinmu onto Void sets things up beautifully. Void can't do anything, no defensive matrix. Then you get the Bionade onto Lee Jae-gon and Izayaki. From that point on with Shanghai always on the back foot, they get the back cap, and only now can Chengdu match that 13%, but this is where I'm looking towards Jinmu, 81%, Lip owning on 64.
Yeah, it's a really solid start for Jinmu, who, I mean, we thought was going to be, a surefire pickup just to be playing the Pharah, but does show us that his not just quite a one-trick, so still going to be looking into the back. He's looking for Izayaki here.
He needs to farm.
Might not know that Izayaki nearly has this Transcendence and now gets it online. Lip at the same time, going to be able to match. Jinmu falls, the EMP is going to come out immediately, catches 3, the Nano Boost out from Monk. Does go on to Gaga, so throws it out, but Flat Up finds 2 with the Pulse. The cleanup comes through. That is just going to be a team ace. And we just go ahead and flip it right back over into the favor of the Shanghai Dragons. So 43% on the board, and with that extra 13, Shanghai are that much closer to tying it up yet again.
And the problem here is, you saw from Jinmu's POV, he's not farming. He's waiting for a manual hack opportunity. He's waiting for something else to happen. While he's chilling, sitting on his hands, Lip is actually farming the EMP. He catches up, lands the EMP, Void blinds Jinmu, gets a solo kill, and that's it going to be for Chengdu. Here comes that double EMP. Izyaki's already dead, so no trance.
Yeah, doesn't get to use the trance. I mean, dead before the EMP even came out. Couldn't save himself. Leave, just taking him out that quickly. It will be rally for rally at the moment, but now with Lip gone, Legion trying to stay alive, has to kite back to keep himself in this fight, get that armor rolling up. Fate falling low, can't get the Primal online in time. Void just going to let the mech get crumpled. This will be a cleanup, and it's just a very swift back and forth here. Chengdu quick on the reply.
And it's both teams finding opportunities to get that EMP in there. The cleanup now for the rest of Chengdu is really getting back into finding those percentage points on that cap with Izayaki gone early, then the rest of the EMP collecting. EJ gone even with the rally. Can't quite get enough armor to save the team. So we're going back and forth between Lip and Jinmu, and now we're going to go swing back towards the Lip side of things as far as that pendulum goes. 71%, still a little bit of farming to go. He's pressuring the point, looking for opportunities.
Yeah, we'll go ahead, translocate out. They nearly get the flip on the point. Pulse bomb out from Flata, finds Nisha. A great pickoff from him early. Monk's still going to be alive into the fight, but the grab gets eaten by Void. Now Elsa does fall. Huge plays from the Shanghai Dragons as they look to get this back into the favor. The Deadeye from Leave only going to be able to find Fleta. The rest of the team still here, still pounding, still picking up kills for the side of Shanghai. Trying to get some knocks here into the car. Will be Lip sent off the side. Gaga does manage to get one with the Primal Rage. Shanghai Dragons are right back into the point. A little minor delay there from Jinmu for a moment, trying to fish out, get that EMP up and running. The rest of the team now collapsing as Chengdu look to take us up to 99%, but the flip comes in as Monk barely gets pushed off the point, and now both supports fall in the back end of the fight.
Yeah, I don't know if they're just pushing for a few extra percentage points there. It's going to be worth it for Chengdu. They've given away a lot of ult charge. There's late deaths here as well, so it's not just like they got extra percentage. I mean, Gaga's going to be thankful to get out of that situation. Elsa, maybe not so much here. This is going to go potentially 99 both sides, or more realistically 99 for the Shanghai Dragons. Lip is ready to go. Not great defense on the side of Chengdu. Jinmu's not quite on the EMP, and Lip's going to go first.
Well, they're just looking to fight them off the point. The EMP comes in, Nisha does fall. They get a follow-up to hacks as Jinmu will be eliminated, but the EMP reply from Jinmu was absolutely massive, and now Elsa manages to find two. Chengdu Hunters still without that Sombra, need to make their way over to the point. They do so right now as Legion gets taken down before he can use the rally. Izayaki still going to be 28% away from the Transcendence, needs to get that online. Void barely makes it back into the mech safely. We're at 99% here. A flip for Chengdu Hunters almost certainly means the round victory. They're going to be hungry for it. They continue to play forward here on the point. Jinmu, however, off of the flank, does get taken down. A huge pickup there from Lip and Fleta. He does still have this pulse bomb. He's looking for backline access. Lobs it down, tries to get leave. He's unable to find him. Electric Cowboy coming through, but the Deadeye's not going to be able to lead to any kills. Now just taking some pot shots, gets a great headshot in on the Lee Jae gone. Izayaki, the Transcendence expires. The self-destruct from Elsa, perfectly timed, finds the kill. It's only going to be a trade out from Monk so far. Nisha down to half HP as Leaf continues to fan the hammers, taking damage from all sides, and will fall in the end. Lip coming up with the kill, but now no front line. The EMP committed to the fight here by Lip, only catches two. They cannot get any follow-up whatsoever off the back of it. 95%, still no tanks alive. They're waiting to respawn. Chengdu, have they done it?
Gaga's got the Primal here as well, so it might just be the case. Monk used the Nano to leave, but it came from to great effect. There's no ultimates available. Fleta dies at 99.
He dies, yeah. Now has to rejoin the fight, hopefully. For his sake, the rest of the Shanghai Dragons can delay this. Void, however, Bio native flies up top, gets chased down by Elsa, and they break him out of the mech. They finish off the Baby D.Va. Pate now going to be hacked. Lip eliminated. It seems so very good here for Chengdu as their HP bars are just not getting chipped away at whatsoever. Everybody collapsed in onto Fate, and it would all come down to Flutta with this pulse. He recalls off the point for just a second, and that's long enough for the OT to bleed away. 100% to 99. Chengdu Hunters draw first blood as they take city center.
And Chengdu, they were looking like maybe they didn't have the tenacity to stay in that fight towards the end there as well. I look back over towards Monk, getting the nano, popping onto Leave, who was on the McCree, and that electric cowboy gives him a lot of legs to walk on. That really saved them. And it doesn't look good to start with. I mean, they're losing members. I'm pretty sure Shanghai had a 6v5. They had the initial, like Jinmu gets manually hacked, and he's there. We see it in this replay as well. Elsa has his grav eaten, and honestly, Elsa was on his last legs anyway. He was on like 1 HP, so even if the grav lands and you're kind of lacking the damage, Elsa dies. Yeah. Gaga's probably next as well. The damage just isn't going to be there, so I don't know that the grav landing would have really won them that fight. And from there on, I thought it was going to be Shanghai.
Well, a good little turnaround victory here from Chengdu so far. Fate now making a swap up as he moves back over onto the Wrecking Ball. Gaga does match. Jinmu now in his comfort zone on the far end, taken to the skies, drop it down, instantly finds Izayaki. DJ gone with a sliver of HP. Will get finished off by Elsa in the end. They collapse it onto Void, and Chengdu Hunters look absolutely phenomenal here at the start of Garden. Flutta has to head for the hills, just get the heck out of Dodge. And Chengdu will yet again lock down this point.
And it's the same neutral fight going the way of Chengdu, where Leave, well this time it's Leave, last time it was Jinmu, but the Sombra players of Chengdu going for Void. You see the manual hack onto Void, Izayaki and Lee Jae gone to the targets, get rid of the supports, no defense matrix to come on through, especially important when you are running the fire on your team. Nisha also gets to go onto the Mercy as well, which has been another comfort pick for Chengdu. So I think this specific composition, outside of Leave playing the Tracer, sorry, the Sombra, where he could be on the Tracer, it's like across the board, everyone's favorite pick, everyone's comfort pick on Chengdu.
Yeah, and they're piloting it extremely well. Lip barely survives, but Izayaki falls off screen as Leave scoops a kill. Jinmu now with the barrage online. Could just, you know, hold this. There's no real reason to use it at the moment. Shanghai continue to get picked off one after the other. Just wait for that nano boost to come in, or maybe even the EMP to couple it here with Leave. But high impact ultimates are not really a great way to deny. It's all going to come down to Void, really, to interrupt this barrage with the D-Matrix. Monk, however, does fall. Now the barrage comes in. Not a great angle is the problem. So Jinmu not going to find too much value off the back of that. The pile driver does eliminate Lip, and as Jinmu drops down to the ground, he finds Flutta. So there's no DPS duo alive for the side of Shanghai. Lee Jae absolutely melts under the pressure. As Gaga, he's just going into the back. He wants to get this minefield online. He's going to get punished here in the end, yeah. Minefield going to be used by Fate, in fact. Well off the point, and nobody else nearby to really crash into these.
That's actually an important kill to Gaga, because now there's a timing for Shanghai to maybe make a push happen. They got the kill to Monk, they forced a res from Nisha, the Valkyrie gets popped as well. That was always going to be a fight for Shanghai that wasn't going to go well. They had no ultimates to work with, but now they do. Flip's going to come in, EMP coming.
The counter EMP! It's absolutely huge. Lip only finds Elsa. The counter comes in, catches 5 members, I do believe, on the side of Shanghai Dragons. Jinmu follows up onto Flutta. The self-destruct gets Fate. And this is just not looking great at all. Chengdu Hunters looking to take this 2-0. They're now at 99%. Void has the nano boost, does have the self-destruct. They'll have to let it go. The direct hit in mid-air on the Baby D.Va. Does get the tag, they can't get the kill. Barrage comes in from the side, finds Izayaki. Lee Jae gone. Cuts down Jinmu, taking him out of the skies at least for a little bit longer. Nisha not in a position to try to get that res off, but Elsa is just doing so much work in the meantime over on the point. Finishes off Lee Jae, gone. Flutta now going to be hacked, can't dash, can't recall out. He's just hiding in a corner somewhere, and Gaga has found him. Gets the kill as Lip desperately tries to swap over onto the Soldier 76 to get himself back over to the point, but the OT bleeds away so quickly that Chengdu Hunters just close out Oasis cleanly with a 2-0.
100-0 on that second sub-map as well. What a performance coming through, especially when you look towards the Sombra. I mean, you said it right there. It's Lip only getting Elsa and then Leave getting all 5, or rather 5 others on the other side of things. Insane from Chengdu. And that's a map that's really important for them to win as well, because this was going to be favored for them as far as comfort picks and compositions go. You get to have Jinmu on a fire. You get to have Gaga playing a bull. Nisha's going to go towards a Mercy as well. They're going to be playing picks that are very good for them. When we go forward into some of these other maps, I will have to start questioning, Are Chengdu going to be able to, come through on the ball again? Do they have to move towards double bubble? Are we going to see Jinmu being subbed out for Jimmy and then they go towards a different type of composition? We know Shanghai still have a lot to work with, but it's an insane start for Chengdu and absolutely what they need to get the series underway.
Yeah, just reveling and basking in the chaos of control. We'll see how they fare when we do move into hybrid for our second map, but it's a very strong start from the Chengdu Hunters. Let's see how they fare in the next map, which is going to be coming up in just a few minutes.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile. And by Indeed, we help people get jobs. The Overwatch League is brought to you by Coca-Cola, the official refreshment of the Overwatch League, and by IBM, the official cloud and AI partner of the Overwatch League.
Alrighty, welcome back. What a start. Chengdu Hunters kicking things off with a 2-0 victory on Oasis. Just like you were saying, Avril, playing completely into their comfort. They dismantled the Shanghai Dragons with it there on that second round of Garden. And now, Shanghai, they have to reply with a win on Hybrid to tie us up.
And the thing that's impressing me so much right now about Chengdu is actually in the Sombra play. Like I noted at the start of both the neutrals that we saw in Gardens and also City Center there, they got the initial hack onto Void, a manual hack onto Void, no defensive metrics, go for the supports there, winning both the neutrals. And you have to remember as well, City Center, we had the back cap that gave them, 13% for Shanghai Dragons, and then a bit more back and forth there. I think Void and Fleta overall had a great game. You see the Pulse Bomb, multi-kill, the Void eat on Elsa's Graviton Surge. That really kept Shanghai, primed to be competitive with City Center. Chengdu clutching up hard with the nano onto leave and then getting the frags. Then you look towards Gardens. That one was far more one-sided, 100-0 for Chengdu. And bit of a masterclass of performance coming through from how they're playing the ball dive.
Yeah, it was just beautiful to play. I mean, Elsa as well, really stepping up, just constantly going in, getting the finish on multiple people. He was protecting his supports, covering the backline with the D Matrix. Overall, great performance from him and everybody else on the side of the Chengdu Hunters. It's pretty much impossible to point a finger and say they could have played better. This guy, he could have stepped up his performance. Everybody was very much on point. And yeah, Shanghai, they just really struggled to find some footing to try and fight back against that, especially on Garden. So now we have to see how they're going to reply as we get ready to move into our hybrid map of Eichenwald. It's going to be our next one, where Shanghai is going to look to stabilize a little bit and try to pick up the pieces here. I think that they should be able to do this just because, you move off of control, which is going to be much more chaotic, that constant fighting that's going on. This is where, the battles often come in waves, and when it's a bit more measured play, there's a bit more time to kind of think about how you want to approach it. I do favor Shanghai, but if Chengdu can continue to just completely offset Shanghai Dragons, catch them off guard, keep the fights going for extended periods of time, they very well could grind down against Shanghai and get a win here.
So for Shanghai, this is going to be a good map for them. Gibraltar's going to be even better when we get to that. Well, that is a heavily favored Shanghai map. Hanamura, you start swinging things back over to Chengdu. So Chengdu's best chance of winning this probably comes from, I mean, there's a couple of scenarios. You have the 3-1 scenario, the 3-2 scenario. 3-2 scenario says that Chengdu lose this map, and we have to go to that map 5, and then, you know, back under control. Maybe Chengdu take us back to the Chengdu zone. We repeat what we saw into Oasis, and that's Chengdu winning the game. Or we're looking towards Chengdu winning Eichenwalde. And if they do this, even if they lose the next map after, which would be Gibraltar, Hanamura should still be good. Even if they lose Hanamura, you still get that last map in control back again. So Chengdu, I mean, just getting Oasis paves the way for them really nicely.
I mean, you see that stat line that we just had pop up in the lower third, and the only hybrid map that Shanghai has ever dropped to Chengdu was Eichenwalde. It was a long time ago, but it was this map. So maybe history will repeat itself here in 2021, and Chengdu Hunters can force Shanghai, of all teams, into a position for a reverse sweep. Granted, when they had to do it last year in the 2020 season, Shanghai Dragons were very reliable when it came down to pulling off those reverse sweeps, but more often than not, they don't get put in that position.
And Jimmer's coming through on the Tourbillon early, so there's not going to be any fire shenanigans, and, you know, Eichenwalde A has been a fire point at some periods in history for Overwatch. This is also DM coming to the roster over, you know, Lip. So we had a situation on Gardens where they weren't really dealing with Jinmu, and now it's like, well, let's put in the hit scan, you know, heavyweight of DMs. And for Shanghai Dragons, Brawl comp, straight into Chengdu. They've identified no fire. This is fine.
Well, will be the Reaper here. Start for Fleta. See, Mortality Field get eliminated. Lee Jae-gon with a sliver of HP. Get top back up here by Izayaki very steadily, but they lose out on the Diva for now, and it's a strong start for the side of the Chengdu Hunters. That being said, Gaga going to be eliminated. Lee Jae-gon pushing forward, finds Jinmu, killing him off with the boom. Spate drops down, trying to throw that fire strike through the window, but it's going to be a loss of the damage now here for the side of the Shanghai Dragons as they look to stabilize. They pull back up onto the high ground, back away, wait for these respawns to come through. And Chengdu can just go ahead and maintain control of this point, make sure that everybody's topped up, and get ready for the next wave.
We'll look at Monk again. I mean, this guy's dropping Bionades. He's landing multiple Bionade hits on the Shanghai Dragons, keeping his team alive. Nano available straight away to Gaga. He's already got the Primal Rage in Shanghai. Just have to back out.
And dives his way in there. Izayaki Bionaded, pulls back around the corner, waiting until they can get some heals. Grabs the mini pack inside the room. Should be stable enough to continue pushing forward. I mean, almost another window available for Izayaki. So we'll see what they can get done with that.
No,
Leap up on the high ground. Oh, man. As I say, it gets the headshot. Follows up with another nice little dink there. And Shanghai Dragons just had to play back indoors. Good dodge there from Fleta on the flashbang. But as he pops out of the Wraith Walk, then will still fall. Elsa just beaming him down. And Elsa can just hold on to this Graviton Surge. Has not gotten to a situation where he feels pressed enough to use it. And, I mean, you look at the ults here. It's going to be 5v6 ultimates pretty shortly, as Monk looks to catch up with the nano boost, but this could definitely swing either way, but it's a great amount of time bought so far for Chengdu.
They need Izayaki to open up with the window here, but he doesn't quite have it yet.
The
huge
huge!
of the 3!
Forces out the beat there from Lee Jae-gon. Monk going to be the first one to fall. Void finding the kill with the Rockets. Immortality Field, however, now going to be gone, and Jinmu picks up Izayaki with the Molten Core, follows up for a second kill on the Fate and Void, lobbing the bomb around the back. Doesn't manage to find anything. Chengdu Hunters come out on top, and that was just everything used from the side of Shanghai. Only Fleta still holding on to the Death Blossom, but they have the Primal Rage, they have the Deadeye on the side of the Chengdu Hunters, and that Nano Boost is going to be on its way pretty quickly.
Sound Barrier was used as well. Immortality Field was used. They still fail. The grab lands. And Monk is really, really playing out of his mind currently. We saw some great flexible performances yesterday. Monk is that one for the Chengdu Hunters. Death Blossom available less than 1 minute. This is a very precarious situation for Shanghai to be in. They're forcing out the Primal. That's at least something.
Yeah, they do manage to find it. They're fighting away from the point. And Gaga into the back line. Just takes out Izayaki, cutting the healing by more than half. Now DM falling as well. Gaga going on an absolute killing spree. Will finally get finished off, but he trades his life for 3 members of the side of Shanghai.
By the way,
they have 35 seconds left.
Look at the comp from Shanghai. They swapped over to a Rush because Izayaki's on a Moira now, and this is Rush where you just got a +4. You just got to walk into the other team, run into the other team, speed into them, but it's constantly Chengdu that are opening the fight first. They have the initiative, and now they have the Nano again. They're going to pop this one probably onto Gaga. Death Blossom cancelled!
Yeah, they cancel it. They still do manage to get the punish, though. Fleta following up with the shotgun blast. Does find Elsa, but now the turn from Jinmu takes down Fate as he turns his back to it. The lessons out from Izayaki, trying to keep everybody alive, but not going to be able to chip away at anybody on the side of the Chengdu Hunters. Izayaki falling, the Deadeye coming through. They do manage to touch the point to force out the OT. Turret going to be cleared. Void dead. 17% away from that self-destruct.
Oh, the sleep.
Flashbang in. Lee Jae gone. Does not die. Takes a couple taps as Fate will receive that Bionade. DM going in with the ult. Doesn't manage to find anything. Fleta trying to drag this one back. Picks up a single kill. He's solo. The flashbang connects. Leave takes him down, and it's a full hold. No ticks, no percentage gain. Chengdu Hunters, they look to repeat that success that they have only found once on a hybrid map. I was teasing when I said maybe they could do it because they beat them once on Eichenwald before. Now they are absolutely looking to pull this off. Shanghai have to reverse full hold them just to force a draw.
Man. Kilios, this is insane. This is so insanely good from Chengdu today. What is Shanghai getting crushed? They achieve very little on that attack. They never really got a good fight for them, and then when they finally had ultimates, there was that one big moment. We go back. It's like 5 ultimates for Chengdu, nearly 6 ultimates for Shanghai. We're waiting for Izayaki to get this, Ant Matrix on board, and that was what should be opening the fight for them. And every single time they rotate, on transition, Monk lands this massive Bionade, instantly forcing a responsive resource from Shanghai, where they don't want to have to sound barrier early. They don't want to have to use Immortality Field early. But Monk is destroying them every rotation. And then on top of that, you have the fact that Chengdu actually had a pretty smart comp by running Leave on the Decree and Jinmu onto the Torb here. They can resist a Brawl comp much better, even though they're playing a dive core because they have the double bubble set up. Normally that double bubble could get run over if it's more brittle DPSs, like we're talking Ashe, Traces, stuff like that. Maybe even, the Fire, which DM I'm sure would just go towards a hit scan. And he already was one onto McCree. But the fact that the Torb and McCree was that your backline was very durable for Chengdu, so they resisted the Brawl quite successfully.
But Jinmu getting tagged up several times. He's just going to swap off, moves over to the Sombra. Leave back over to the McCree. And I mean, Shanghai, man, what a task.
They can only draw, by the way.
Yeah,
so
that's what I was saying. Yeah,
they're going to be down. They're going to be down no matter what.
So yeah, it still doesn't pick them up a win. Elsa now going to be moving over onto the Diva. Just trying to mitigate some of the damage coming out from the Ashe, from the Echo. Into the back, Jinmu looking for the hack, finds it on the Void. No one can collapse to try to punish this and get rid of the mech, as Fate takes quite a bit of damage and has to leap back to safety all the way over to the point. And you can see, Chengdu Hunters, they've already gotten through the initial archway, they've gotten through this initial choke. As long as they don't lose out on members now, they're in a very good position to pressure the point. DM gets caught on the flank. Everybody diving into the back, puts pressure on the Ashe. Now they get a headshot at range. Fate is gone. Bionade out on the Izayaki. As Lee Jae tries to stay alive in the skies, but Void is taken out and off the point. And they just absolutely steamroll them. Oh my goodness. Chengdu Hunters starting this series off 2-0. Shanghai Dragons now have to reverse sweep them. It's the second ever time that they have dropped a hybrid map versus Chengdu. It happens yet again on Eichenwald, but in such one-sided fashion. Incredible play yet again from everybody on the side of the Chengdu Hunters. They absolutely dismantle the Dragons.
Did you see the faces of the players there, especially for Shanghai? You got Fleta just... He's got a finger on his head, like, what's going on here? You got, I don't know, like your Fate doesn't know what's going on. Then you look over to Chengdu.
I don't know what's going on. But I love it.
And like turn the player names off. Let's get rid of the HUD. Like, who's playing against who here? Because it looks like, if you walked into this one, you think, yeah, Shanghai versus Chengdu. You imagine 2-0 up. Yeah, it's probably Shanghai. Yeah, Chengdu's not going to do too well, are they? But then you look at how things have actually transpired. Gardens was 100-0. Shanghai were missing. They were asleep. They did nothing. We go towards Eichenwalder, a full hold, no tech, no successful fight wins on the attack, and then Chengdu do like a slow one attempt, but it's a one attempt. You got DM getting killed straight away. A manual hack onto Fate, which kills him. An initial manual hack onto Void, which Jinmu's gotten repeatedly, which gave them neutral wins. So Shanghai, I don't know what's going on. They're asleep at the wheel right now. This is Chengdu in the zone, and I got to say, Chengdu zone is now just like the W zone. They might as well just be winning.
Yeah, I mean, it looks so great for them right now. Shanghai Dragons being pushed to the brink. Maybe the realization that they're down 0-2, that they're at match point, will finally wake them up. But we have to wait and see. They need to pull off a reverse sweep if they want to be victorious here today. Otherwise, Chengdu Hunters are going to be looking to start off their season 2-0. It would be a huge boon for them. We'll see what happens when we come back for that third and potentially final map in just a few minutes, so do not go anywhere.
The Overwatch League is brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest and fastest 5G network. Set your sights on the competition with T-Mobile.